Hi everyone, welcome to our further food for thought section. I managed to get that out, it's a tongue twister, I just get stuck on it every time. But today we're going to be thinking a bit more about what does God say about, or what does the Bible say about the earth. And we spoke on Sunday a bit about the fact that God really loves the earth, he cares for it, he created it, and he created us to take care of it and look after it in a way that honours his wishes for the earth. So we spent a bit of time thinking on Sunday about the issue of climate change, and we addressed the fact that actually for many people that experience the consequences of climate change, they're actually people that are living in the developing world who are actually the least responsible for the causes of climate change in terms of their consumption of resources and their the contribution of industry and all those kind of things in those countries is far less than in richer nations. And so we should see this issue as an issue of justice, and in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the prophets again and again and again call Israel to address injustice and things that are not right in their society and in their way of living. And I referenced in the talk on Sunday a report which was commissioned by Christian Aid, which is called The Song of the Prophets, a theological perspective on climate change. And I would really recommend that you have a look at that report. It can give way more detail about this issue than I can in a 5-minute video. Perhaps Giles can put the link on the screen for you to have a look at that. We also talked about the fact that we might think about some more practical steps, and I'd suggest to you that probably when we think about practical responses to this, there's probably some micro responses and some macro responses. So there are some things that we can all do practically ourselves, individually, as households or on our own, to try and lessen the impacts that we have on the environment. So that's like things like reducing single-use plastics, buying second-hand if we can, recycling when we can, or even better, just not buying stuff when we don't need it. And I know that is not something I'm very good at always, but it's always asking ourselves that question: do I need this thing, or could I get it second-hand? Is that possible? Is that an option? And there's probably some bigger things that we can do that contribute to kind of the systemic problems that there are with climate change, and those are the sorts of things that we can do, like thinking about who we vote for. Do we vote for people who have green policies? Do we prioritise that? Do we even consider that when we vote? Do we join in with campaigns where we can ask our government to meet targets that we have committed to around climate change? Or campaigning where there are these issues of injustice with climate change. 2 organisations that I'd highlight for you that have ongoing campaigns around that are Tear Fund and also Christian Aid. And if you go on their website, they will point you to petitions that you can sign. Those are the sorts of things that we can do to try and make longer term changes that may be potentially bigger than the impact that we can make just in those small everyday choices. I guess, like I said, we can go from being in a place of despair or denial, despair, despair. We can sort of flip between those two. But what I'd suggest to you is that making some small adjustments and maybe thinking about just signing a petition, those things are just a small start to being able to take some responsibility for our role in renewing the earth. Some questions for you as life groups. I would say spend some time looking at Psalm 104. You will have a newfound appreciation for creation, and it will lead you to worship God. So do that together, and maybe think together about some of the practical things you could do individually or as a group to try and care for our earth better. And maybe thirdly, you could pray together for those people in the world who are adversely affected right now by the issue of climate change. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great week. Thank you. Bye bye.